Surprise bill? Need fast funds? CashNet USA can help. When you need money fast, be the hero.
Apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and get a fast decision. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Someplace underneath. Chloe Sevigny is about to be 50.
Good for her.
Look at her.
I love
Crushing
it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Someplace Underneath. I'm Amber Nelson.
Natalie Jean.
Sorry?
We were just talking about the edgelordiness of the movie Kids.
Right, because I'm going to go see Harmony Korine's new movie, Aggro Drift, coming out. I think it's out, but I'm going to go watch it. And apparently I've heard mixed reviews from people saying it's problematic because Travis Scott's in it. And some people said they hate Harmony Korine. Some people say they love him. How do we feel?
He's a provocateur.
He's a provocateur.
He is. If it's a Harmony Korine movie, it's going to be problematic. That is sort of what his thing is, you know. The first movie he ever did is 2 kids, one of whom is being essayed in the last scene.
Right.
And that's the big climax of the movie. So
and remember when they're kissing on the bed and the sounds were so loud? That's so gross. It's like ASMR before we knew what that was.
It's true. That was ASMR. Kissing ASMR. That's gross. Yuck.
Hi, everybody. Is anybody excited about a new movie coming out? I think there's a lot of fun art projects. I'm excited to see Hundreds of Beavers. That's another movie coming out.
There's a lot of good horror coming out. Has anyone seen, our friend Jermaine is in a new movie about a monster spider.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Jermaine's he plays an exterminator in it, I think.
Okay.
What's it called? Sting? Something like that.
Hilarious. Oh, thank you. My hair. Thanks for the sub, Cassie Reads Tarot. Thank you so much. And I curled my hair today. Look at this. I took a shower last night.
Ooh, I didn't.
You still got your twizzles, your twinkles.
Oh, yeah, I got some tinsels in my hair still from the fairy ball.
Oh, that fairy ball looked so glamorous. Natalie and Jackie looked so beautiful.
Man, it is just, I gotta say, I know things are really tough in the world. We're going through a lot as a people, a society, but there's just a really healing energy to a bunch of people, grown-up adults smiling and laughing, and everybody's just happy to be together. And when Jackie and I were there, we were almost felt high.
Yeah.
And both of us looked at each other and just went, did we join a cult? Is this what church is for people? Because we were just yeah, you look great and you look great. Oh my God, you're amazing. And that's how the whole night went. Right. I think that's how people end up killing their families.
That's right. Natural serotonin. But yeah, everybody looked great. It's like a Comic-Con. And, people make fun of Comic-Con.
It's way cooler than that, okay?
Whoa, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Very experiential, very immersive. You become a fairy, unlike a Comic-Con.
Ooh, I dig it. Well, whatever puts a smile on your face. And
I do think that's true. Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's important I think if we allow people to do activism and talk about hard topics as well as enjoy things and be okay with both of those things, that more people would want to talk about the hard things. If it wasn't how dare you smile? How dare you?
Right.
You can do both.
You can. And if it's doom and gloom every day, you're not going to fill the well and have the energy to do anything out in these streets.
I very much agree.
Right. So put on your fairy uniform and go burn down a Chase Bank.
I like the idea of a fairy uniform. You can be a fairy, but it's very regulated.
It's very a zipper.
It's Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, the end scene. Do you remember that? That's fucking, what a good, that's such a good movie. It's from the early, have you ever seen it?
I've seen it.
Okay.
So the oldest daughter, she like takes responsibility. I can see you digging that, Natalie, because you are the oldest daughter and you do take a lot of responsibility and you're very smart and you have a lot of stuff we can talk about today that I had no idea.
I don't think that I could have created a clothing line over the summer the way she did. But I did love the concept of their uniforms, but they're like provocative waitress uniforms, I guess.
Right. Let me look a picture of this. I'll do it later. We're on air. What am I doing? What am I sitting on my couch? I'm talking to you people. Come on.
Talking to you people. Come on, guys.
Oh, thanks for the sub, Thomas, the twerk engine. I like that name. Is it like choo choo?
Oh, Amber, we got to do a twerking lesson. We got to get some twerking in there.
Oh, I twerk like a homeschool child. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, thanks, big sister energy. I have always been the big sister in the one watching all the other kids.
And you do really take care of a lot of kids, and you're very. Sometimes I'm like, fuck them kids, but not on this show, because this show is very important.
Yes.
But you are very careful with children.
I care about kids a lot, despite the fact I don't have any. I think that is a misnomer. That's not the right word.
Something. But you can still care about them and not. In fact, you might even care about them more because you're like, I know my schedule, my lifestyle, who I am, and that just isn't with children.
Yeah. Nope, that's not the right word.
Missenor?
It is a, it just is there again. Well, it's gone. Never mind.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that too, that you can love and respect and cherish kids and not be a parent, and you can be a parent and also
be a bad one.
Be a bad one, which is, we're going to be talking about several of them today. Isn't that fun? Demon Lemur Nick, y'all need to see I Saw the TV Glow. I've heard only good things about that, and I know that director had something else that came out a couple years ago.
We're all going to the World's Fair.
Oh, we're all going to the World's Fair, which another one I have not seen, but I know that people love it and it's real weird. I definitely want to check that one out. Yeah, lots of good horror coming out. I'm excited for a lot.
I love
a lot
that.
of that stuff.
Also, some stuff coming out. Some
last
not
thing.
Good things.
Not good.
I don't know, I'm trying to get into this show somehow. Or sorry.
And segue. Last thing though, I apologize. Last week I had a little bit of a tech issue that took me well into the hour of the stream. So Amber did an incredible job. Our behind the camera people did an incredible job, thanks to all of them, but Eric especially just created the Amber Live, which was it's fun because it looks like it's yelling at you.
It does.
And you ate food.
Does. Yeah. Oh, there he goes again. He's so talented.
Look at him go.
Look at him go. So I'd love to do it again. We'll see if you guys like it.
I think you should do more. Not right now. Instead of Spun.
Right.
But to accompany
something else. We'll do something else.
Yeah, this week I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the news stories that are going on and some things I just found interesting this news cycle. And I don't know how many of you, but I bet a lot of you are following the Chad Daybell trial. Who's checking it out? Have you watched any of it?
A little bit. I have. Very scary.
It's been going on for like over a month. I don't remember what day it started, but I think almost 2 months. I think. But this is the one half of the murder trial for a bunch of people. So Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell Vallow. You could use she's been married 5 times, so you can use 6 different names for her.
Wow. We love her. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
We don't. She's already had her trial. Chad's in his. She was not facing the death penalty for their crimes, but he is. And so they're coming close to the end of this trial. Closing arguments are beginning. It has been mostly information that we already had, but there were some really interesting takeaways from this trial. One being, he sat through the whole thing, which I don't think you have to. I know that Harmony Montgomery's piece of shit sperm donor refused to go to trial because he's a coward for pretty much all of it. but he was sitting there the whole time, and he barely moved. He didn't make faces. They would read out the most humiliating pieces of information about him and the things he said to Lori. They murdered multiple people. If you're not familiar with this trial, they're both members of the LDS Church and believed that they were supposed to lead the 144,000. And the apocalypse was supposed to happen, I think, in 2022.
They just keep pushing it back, don't they?
They do. It didn't happen, unfortunately, for all of us because I'm tired. But they just killed a bunch of people. And I don't know how much they actually believe that's what was happening, or if they just wanted to not be in their families anymore. And they just went, I'm pretty sure this is what God said. So
right. It was just an excuse. They're the world is ending. I want to go to Hawaii and go on vacation. Sure. Yeah.
Which is what happened. They killed many people, but they killed 2 of Lori's children and then immediately went to Hawaii for vacation. They did horrible things to those kids and buried them in his yard, and then just sat at a pool reading Visions of Glory, by the way. Oh, guys, we have so much to talk about because we're going to be talking about Visions of Glory a lot this season. Would love to hear your take on Karen Reed. I have not followed that very closely. What should I follow? Should I follow Karen Reed's story? Should
I follow her to the bank?
I don't know. I don't think she has any money left, probably. That actually was another thing during the Chad trial. His lawyer tried to recuse himself, right? What's it called when you take him? Recuse. Because it turns out he ran out of money. But so instead, the judge would not let him. So lawyer John Pryor took possession of his house. So he owns Chad Daybell's house, which is also the crime scene.
You can do that? You could be like, hey, can you represent me in court? Here's my house.
I guess so.
That's just like old barter, exchange and bartering. Like, hey, Natalie, sorry, I can't go to court. Here's my phone.
Here's some rabbit furs.
Do you want here's some rabbit furs?
I trapped. One of the other things that I found really fascinating that I was waiting for and is incredibly tragic is that Chad Daybell's 2 of his children, adult children, testified in his favor. If you want to pull that article up. So it's the Yahoo News one. So he essentially, what we're understanding from them going up on the stand is that they kind of believe the same things he believes. So the reason that it's tragic is that his children's mother was murdered by him and Lori, and probably Lori's brother, who's also dead now, who is not being... Alex is Lori Vallow's brother, and he definitely helped murder all these people, and he died very young. They're not saying that his death was a murder. I find that incredibly hard to believe, but they're saying it was natural causes, even though he was in his, I think, late 40s, early 50s. So because Alex and Lori were involved in these deaths, basically Chad's children are sticking by the idea that Chad is either innocent or he was manipulated into helping. But there's so much physical evidence. There's so much documented evidence that that's not true. And his kids are just choosing to either not look at it or just go la 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 la.
To admit that a parent or a child or someone very close to you is an actual monster is so hard to do. It's almost like I could see just shifting your brain and just being no, they were brainwashed. They were coerced. No, they didn't know. Daddy's not bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then it's almost like daddy raised me, and does that make me bad?
Well, and it's interesting you say that because the daughter who went up on the stand for him, they have footage from the police car when Chad was taken the first time, and he's talking to his daughter through the window, and she's crying, and she does say that, "You're the one who raised me." I think she knows. It's devastating on so many levels, but one level it's devastating is that she worked with her mother in the same school. Her mom was a teacher. The daughter was also a teacher. And her doing that, deciding that I can't lose daddy too, is just slapping her mother in the face, because her dad definitely was sick of her mother, insulted her a million different ways, was cheating on her, helped this murder happen. And she is sort of just like compartmentalizing it in this way that is, she's too much of a grown adult to do that. She has her own children. Like, she can't just go, well, I don't want to lose daddy. She's like in her, I think, 30s.
Once you have your own kids, it's almost like the jig is up. Like any sort of toxic person you keep in your life, you have to be like, cut them out.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're your father or your grandfather. There's no more like, but daddy raised me and I'm good, right? Like if your father is a murderer and you know this, he's out. He's done with a life, and you raise your kids to be better.
And not only a murderer of your mom.
Of your own mom.
Who by every account was like the nicest, kindest, most thoughtful woman. Somebody got mad at me because I was calling Lori Vallow an Idaho 11 on one of the other streams. And what I mean by that is the look of that kind of community. That's what they're supposed to be, like the ideal woman is. And like the Mormon community and that community in Idaho and in those areas, that's what is supposed to be what a woman looks like. Tammy is gorgeous, and she seems much cooler and smarter. And I think a little bit Chad is no personality. He has nothing to offer. And so those kind of people always end up shitting on other people, because they don't have anything to give to the world. And
they know that.
But the fact that Lori, in my opinion, started paying attention to Chad because she decided that he was like some sort of, spirit head who could talk to God because of his little books. He saw Lori giving him attention, this blonde with the bosoms and the abs. And he went, okay, I thought I was special. And now this lady who I think is an ideal is talking to me. So I must be special. I must be correct in my books. And so that's sort of like how I feel is it's probably like the perfect storm between the two of them. They were both already kind of garbage people who came together and anded their way into a bunch of murders.
Yes, and your way into a bunch of murders.
Yeah.
Wow, that was Improv 101, Natalie.
Is that what you guys did?
That's what we did at UCB.
At UCB. Figured out who you could convince to murder people. So Amber is so constantly cheerful that she has this giant smile listening to a story about murders.
I know, I'm sorry. I just don't want to be here like that's not good. But it's just like an arresting.
I like that face.
Even though you're talking about like a family annihilator, and I'm like, that is weird.
No, it's not. You're doing good. You're cute. I know that you're not excited about it.
No, I'm just trying to be presentful in front of the cameras.
Yes. So it's interesting though, because Chad's children, they sort of also believed a lot of the lore that he made up, which is really just LDS plus. It's like LDS hyper speed. So they had this whole system where Chad could go meditate and find out how good or bad people were. And they had this whole, it's like literally like a third grader's game, but he'd be like, they're a 4 light. And that means that they're on the good side. And then if they don't like somebody, they're like, oh, that person's a 2 dark. They did that for people, right?
What? It's like you're a scale. It's like rate me 1 to 10.
Yes.
Like hot or not, but for going to heaven.
Yes.
Barf.
So he was doing that before Lori too. And Tammy, his wife, actually also like kind of believed it because he was the husband and she was taught her whole life to believe the husband.
He's the head of the house.
Even though she was too smart really to be believing that shit. She did what she was supposed to do as a wife, and he still fucking killed her. But his kids also essentially believed these things. They didn't know, I'm assuming they didn't know about any of the murders and they're not getting charged with that, but their belief system is not that far off from his, to the point where they can still do the mental gymnastics to go testify in his favor after he killed their mother.
God, what does he rate himself? Is he like a 10 light?
Whatever the top number is, I'm sure.
That's what he is.
Because he and Lori and his visions were, I forget which characters in the Bible, but they were like the leader lovers, which we always joke about, because like all these people of visions were never just, they weren't just, tilling fields in their past lives. They were always the top one.
Right, the tops.
So he and Lori were lovers, and I assume
Kings somewhere. Yeah,
I'm assuming he was tall and had glistening rock hard abs. And yeah, so the son who also testified lived with them, and he was really close with his mom, and he still is defending his dad.
Oh no.
Surprise bill? Need fast funds? CashNet USA can help. When you need money fast, be the hero.
Apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and get a fast decision. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
There's something so weird and creepy to me about, they're very like quiet, kind of like conservative church people, which is fine. But this kid who was an adult, he lived with them still, with Tammy and Chad, and he seemed a little, he seems awkward. Both of the kids sound just like Chad, which is, they talk like this all the time. My mother, her health wasn't very good.
Has the joy been beaten out of them?
Yeah, I just think they're just like sort of vanilla, bland people, which again, when they were testifying, defending their father, they tried to throw their mom under the bus for him by saying
like she seduced them somehow.
No, this is Chad's and Tammy's children. Tammy's children tried to say she died. She wouldn't go to the doctor. She was very sickly, which is not true. She wasn't. She was in great shape. They were saying like she caused her own death. They went up on the stand and said it makes me very angry. Like her own kids, like no one's standing up for this woman.
Fuck.
Who was fucking murdered in her bed. Murdered by her, whatever. It's terrible. But that son who lived with them worked at a haunted house. And that's where he was before he came home the night his mom was killed. And there's just something that makes me creeped out by that.
Yeah, because he's such a like sort of like dour person. Haunted house is supposed to be very eclectic.
Is it like, maybe I'm being judgmental, but if you are compartmentalizing just in this way where you're just like, yes, I just get up and I go to work and then I go to church and then I go sit in my mom and dad's house and then I go to the haunted house.
Yeah.
And then I go back to mom and dad's house and then I get up and I go to church and then I go to work. Like that, to me, there's just like something's off in the balance.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck, man. Also coming from a haunted house to like your mom's dead in the house. That's extra haunted house.
There is, I don't think he's ever going to get charged, but there has been some evidence that maybe he's lying for his dad about how they found her body and stuff. And that then makes the question be like, how much did he actually know? Did he know something was going to happen? Did he help his dad readjust the body because the stuff didn't line up the way that they did the autopsy on her body? And it's one of those deaths too where they had to exhume her body because when it happened, they all agreed it was natural causes. And there's some really interesting research about local autopsies that happen like with the medical people in the community because they might have biases towards the locals.
Oh, like getting bought out. Can you buy off an autopsy doctor?
Not buy out, but so for an example, in this situation, this was by every account, just this upstanding church-going family. Everybody knew them. They were part of the community. When the husband and the son said she just died of natural causes, they didn't really do all of the tests that would happen if they were looking for a murder. And then they had to exhume her body when all this was happening. We found all about all the other deaths. And then they went, oh, actually, this is ABCD is not lining up to what the story was. But they weren't seeking those things out the first time around because they weren't looking for a murder.
Oh,
so
because it was like a family man.
And they maybe they went to the same community stuff. Maybe maybe there was only like a 3-degree separation. I don't know exactly. But there is research to say that can cause biases whenever it's like a local person doing the autopsy.
Interesting. So is this like a bigger question of like, should autopsy people kind of work independently? Should they travel rogue?
I don't know. And I don't know anything about that field. I just know that there's been research on it, that it could cause issues sometimes, every once in a while. And in this situation, you can kind of see why, because there was a bunch of evidence that she hadn't died naturally, and they just didn't look for those things because they weren't looking for it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Never crossed their mind.
Yeah, this whole story makes me want to jump out a window too, Demon Limerick. It sucks. Karen Reed, they say she killed her cop boyfriend by drunk backing over him. She says fellow cops killed him and covered it up. No, oh man, I guess I didn't. Oh, I was thinking of another case. I was thinking of the Corey Richardson case, which is another LDS family. I'm not trying to do this, guys. So I don't think I've followed the Karen Reed case at all. Did you see the Corey, I believe it's Corey Richardson, the woman who poisoned her husband and then wrote a children's book about how kids handle the death of a parent?
So she's just writing these books. She's making content for
Corey
the books.
Richins. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Corey Richins. Yeah, she poisoned her husband and then got that whatever is going on in the old noggin that gets you the attention. It's like not Munchausen's, but it's like the idea of that where she got to be on like TV and she got this book and all this pity and all this stuff because of the death. But she did it. She caused them.
Is she LDS too?
They were LDS, yeah.
Girl, this is crazy. I found a thing, and I don't know if you want to keep talking about this, but I found, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but there's
okay, I thought you said the sharpest tool in the tent. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have sharp tools in a tent.
No, you can't.
It'll rip the tent.
You might rip it. The LDS Church, $100 billion has been embezzled. Apparently, I do have a video, but I will say, like, to premise this, let me pull it up. There's a whistleblower that says $100 billion was intended to go to charity work for LDS, but it didn't, and no one knows where it went. That's a lot of money. Let's roll the clip.
Mormon Church hid $100 billion in a fund called Ensign Peak Advisors. You heard that right. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, through donations and investments, has amassed and hid $100 billion. And it's grown by $60 billion in the last decade alone. Members are highly encouraged to donate 10% of their income, and there are some pretty powerful members. And now we know where that money was going. But they were very sneaky. The church created over a dozen shell companies to make all investment activity harder to track. But $100 billion, that is a lot of money. It's basically SoftBank 2.0, but probably better managed. And what fine did they have to pay? For the $44 billion of American equities that they hid? A mere $5 million. Keep in mind, this is all untaxed. It's a church. So that's like messed up, right?
Yeah, that's messed up, bro.
That's messed up, right?
No, it is. He's a cool Zoomer. But it's very interesting. I didn't know a church could just make a shell company, what a shell company was. I didn't know that hedge funds are investing money in LDS churches, and they're just told, like, oh, we can just take a little bit off the top, right? That's okay. But the churches aren't taxed. So how is this legal?
It's why I go so hard on churches. It's not because I don't think people should be spiritual, and I don't want to shit on people who go to church, but you have to be really careful because between all of the tithing stuff and the fact that we don't tax them, it's only attracted pretty dark people
who are going to murder their family and go to Hawaii,
or hurt people who are vulnerable. But like,
and that's not everybody in LDS church, but there's people at the top that are doing shit that's just like They're getting away with it because they have so much money. And there's another, the Utah billionaire leaves the Mormon church.
Well, yeah, wait, this one's positive,
This is positive. Donates $600,000 to LGBTQ plus groups. And he says, hindered global progress in women's rights, civil rights, and racial equality and LGBTQ rights, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. His name is Jeff Green. He left. He donated a bunch of money. He was in there for 9 years, more, longer.
So there have been some whistleblowers. We've talked a little bit about some of the people who've come out. There was an accountant who came forward because he just said, I can't live on this in good conscience. But that guy, I didn't know if I ever read about him before, but it sounds like he was a big donor to the church who then left and said, basically, they're making things worse.
Yeah.
But it's not just LDS Church. It's not. Like, if we even go to smaller versions of it, like with the Micah Miller story, which we've been covering for a couple weeks, that family is comprised. So John Paul Miller, his father, his son now, they're comprised of violent criminals, and they still run churches and they collect tithings, and they're worth somewhere around $6 million right now, just as a family.
It's just untaxed money going to, and this is the wife that died?
The wife that died by suicide, allegedly.
That he pushed her to.
That at the very least tortured her to the point where she felt like she couldn't do anything else. But we don't know everything yet. There's still a lot of questions. I still challenge the idea that it wasn't actually her who did it, but I could be wrong in the future.
Still going through.
I do believe that it's his fault and that he needs to be held accountable. But like so many crimes, they are being investigated by the FBI right now, but it seems to be more connected to all of the financial crimes that have come out since this occurred.
Right.
So
at least get him in jail for something, because he's the kind of person that can't be on the streets. This is the guy that we showed the video of last time, and he's like crying outside of his car on the ground. Something like, God's going to come take me. And he's like a leader of men.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here, buddy?
And not only that, people have done a really good job of sleuthing all of his old recorded sermons, and they're just filled with
hate.
Not just hate, just like, oh, this guy is not okay. Mm-mm. But I guess the people in the church were already just too in on it to like.
It's too in on it.
They just like, well, he's the pastor, so I guess he just says things that seem really scary sometimes.
Well, a lot of those communities, and if you leave the church, this is your friendship. Mm-hmm. This is some places social security. Because church was originally intended to be, for if I get sick,
right,
some tithing comes to me, right? God, that doesn't happen now. But, or maybe sometimes just not as much. But if you leave a church in some of these smaller towns, you're done for. Like, you might as well go move. You have no friends. You're lonely.
And his wife, who has since passed away, when she was trying to escape, she went to a different church, and he did this with her. And we have police records now of his first wife. He did the same thing where he would stalk them, harass them, scare them, show up at their house over and over again, threaten them with blackmail, because he would. Yeah, dude, I can't. This guy is the worst.
Because he has all the power.
Worst. Yeah. There's so much we can't even go into. But.
PastaBot says, my dad was a local LDS church leader, and there was a whole series of networks covering up his DV against my mom. We got out, but it took literal federal government for it to end. I'm so sorry, PastaBot.
I'm so sorry to hear that. But
the fact that it took
awful.
the federal government to come in, because this guy had money and leadership. You can't protection.
That's another thing. I'm sorry. This John Paul Miller story lives in my head. There is apparently records of John Paul. So Micah's best friend has been speaking out, and she was told that John Paul shares all of the sex stuff that he films with all of the men in the church.
Fuck him, man.
So this is a community of people who are potentially committing acts that are really bad.
And also, according to this community, like, the woman should be pure. So he's like, and
it's defiling in his mind.
Her in his mind.
Yeah.
He's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if she were filming herself on like a sex service, it'd be wrong. But if he does it, it's okay.
Yeah. Sometimes probably without even her consent or permission to film it.
Of course.
Yeah. She had some really, really dark stuff in her journals. You mentioned it before, and I don't think it was verified, but it's pretty, I think, verified now that she at least has written in her journals that he would like make her do sex acts with like homeless people and stuff. So and film it.
I saw that, but I didn't. I don't know if I said it, but it wasn't set in stone.
It's only going by her writing, but I mean, good Lord, you guys.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Next Level Pet people will do anything for their dogs. That means treating them with next level protection from parasites with NexGard Plus, afoxolaner, moxidectin, and parental chewable tablets. NexGard Plus chews provide one and done monthly protection against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms, all in a tasty beef-flavored chew. Used with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask your vet about NexGard Plus Chews.
Well, let's move on to something lighter, like not this story, unfortunately. This is also very dark.
Right.
I didn't, since I wasn't here last week, I just wanted to briefly touch on Madeline Soto's case. So a lot of stuff has come out. She was missing briefly. This was a little 13-year-old girl in Florida, and she was briefly missing. Her mom and her mom's boyfriend did this very bizarre series of interviews.
Oh, where they were
news.
like, I reset my phone.
So
and it was a stepdad too, right?
It was not. It was her mother's boyfriend.
It was a boyfriend. Yeah. So this is important because he was also.
He's not a good one. So, just to reiterate, so this little girl went missing. Her mom and this boyfriend went on the news, and it was really weird. And people were like, this seems off with both of them. They unfortunately found her body, and they were trying to like figure out what happened. And so in doing so, they asked if they could look through all of their stuff. And they were like, yeah, sure. But of course, the boyfriend, whose name is Stefan, said, here's my phone, but like I was trying to like push this button and just all my phone reset. I don't know. It's just like
you have to go in there and do this stuff.
And fortunately for us, that doesn't mean that they can't recover the things that you were just trying to delete. So they recovered his phone, and it was filled with what you would expect it to be filled with, which is thousands of pictures of this little girl. And we don't know yet. We don't know if he was selling it. We don't know if he was just using it for himself, but he didn't seem to have a job.
Oh, and there was like a couple other guys down the street that were also selling images of children, right?
Which something we brought up on when we first announced this, or we're talking about this case. We don't know for sure yet, but there was right down the road another sting of CSAM that involved the child who lived in the house and the two adult men who lived there.
And doesn't Florida have death penalty for that? I think he was talking about it.
I know that we talked a little bit about that, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but I know that DeSantis was like trying to grandstand with it. Not DeSantis.
Yeah, what's his name? I can look this up, but I want to look right in the camera and ask you guys.
I don't remember. There's something to do with the death penalty, but I don't remember what it was off the top of my head.
I don't know.
But regardless of that, I don't care. I don't believe in the death penalty for reasons that are somewhat probably negative in that I think it's too much of an easy way out for some criminals, but also
I haven't seen wealthy people on the death penalty, to be honest.
They don't get death row, never. But the other side of it is there are people who are put on death row that are not guilty. So I don't believe in us playing God in that way with people's lives. But I don't want him to. I think that he should stare at a wall for another 40 years. But so that guy, they started releasing all of this new information. If you want to pull that article up, I forget which one that is. The first Madeline Soto, the Fox one. So they're revealing all these different pieces of the footage, the things that, so there's security footage, there's the Google Drive that they found that he had, that he's not like a genius, thankfully. He just named it the little girl's name, and they just opened it, and it was just things that gets you put in jail they should put you in jail for the rest of your life.
Oh, like, wasn't it like that cop a long time ago that wanted to kill his wife, and they just found it, like files, like with his wife's name? It was a long time ago. Never mind, different case. Let's keep going.
No,
right.
But that sounds like that guy wasn't smart either.
Right.
Yeah, so they found all this, and they released some other information, including some of the interviews they did in the police station, written down and also audio. And it has been revealed that the mother and Stefan and the daughter all slept in the same bed together regularly, and that the mother would say, she told the police that she had anxiety, so she would sometimes leave the bedroom so that the daughter and her boyfriend slept in the same bed together.
Fuck
alone.
That. She had anxiety?
Yeah.
Throw her in jail too.
I think
to be honest,
I think she should face charges. Yeah. Just on that alone. It's already questionable if it's an actual family unit, if you should be doing, I have my feelings on it. I don't think you should have a kid in that age in your bed at that point, but there is nothing on this earth that should make you leave. I don't care how much you trust your partner, your boyfriend, to leave a tween and let them sleep in the same bed.
Because you had anxiety? She didn't get anxiety from like leaving her child alone with a man? So that doesn't give you anxiety?
My question, and a lot of people are asking this, is that her anxiety because she knew this was happening and she wanted to dissociate from it by ignoring it and saying that I have anxiety, and that was her way of like leaving, because she probably, if she knew that was happening, probably did have anxiety.
Yeah.
Also, go fuck yourself. But I could see that working in that weird way of like trying to mentally ignore.
It'll go away, the problem. I've seen some interviews with her, and she's just like not there. Mm-mm. Like no soul. I'm sorry that's mean to say, but also fuck her.
I think we should give people the benefit of the doubt initially if one person's accused of hurting the kid and the other one's not. But after hearing that,
and she even said it.
Yeah, go back and look at the interviews and watch her reactions with that sort of understanding that she would let them sleep in the same bed together alone all the time. I'm already looking at her in a different way when she's being interviewed, and she looks like she is panicking, not in a way like, I don't know where my daughter is, but like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail. That's what I'm seeing now.
Well, fuck her.
But yeah, if you want to listen to just listen to a little bit of this guy's voice. This is him being interviewed like 2 days after all this happened, and they're trying to figure out their story in the morning because it's just confusing about what they even said about her getting dropped off for school in the morning.
When did you come back to help hurting?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, because you live down south, right? Mm-hmm. When did you come back up north to help her?
I just got here this weekend.
Do you remember what day it was?
Sunday. Sunday was her birthday party, so yeah, it was the evening after her birthday party. Sunday.
Okay. Do you remember what time you got here on Sunday?
8:30ish, maybe.
Okay.
Just in time to make sure that she was doing all her nighttime routines. I'm waiting for her mom to get home. Yeah.
Did you guys go anywhere last night? Was that media?
Maybe. I think Fox 35 or something.
Yeah. Let me tell him to move the table down.
Okay.
I don't recall. You have to ask her if we went anywhere. I don't recall. I was so zonked out on Ativan at that point.
Okay.
Because I was a wreck. I don't think...
And this would have been when?
Yes, thank you.
I don't recall us going anywhere last night, but honestly, at that point my brain was mush and I was on so many tranquilizers to keep me stable. I was just...
You said Ativan?
Yeah.
You can cut it off here. So that is him saying to the police the day after she went missing, I don't remember if we looked for her or not the day before.
Yeah, he sounds so like incognate, if that's a word, just like not quite there, doesn't know, dodging the questions, annoyed that that's even happening. Like,
oh yeah, he comes across as irritated a lot.
If you're like stepdaughter or a woman you're close to's daughter has gone missing, wouldn't you be a little more panicked? And I know we can't judge people's reactions in an intense moment because we all act very differently, but just the way he's acting is just very nonchalant.
He also plays the victim quite a bit in that interview. You can find it anywhere. I think that was on Chord TV, but if you heard him say he was just so upset, he had to take medication. He was so stressed out, and it was so hard for him that he had to take all these pills, which makes me want to fucking gouge his eyes out because of what he already had done to this little child. But the fact that he's saying, I don't remember if we went out and looked for her yesterday. Go fuck yourself, dude. And also the mom's story isn't much stronger. She also openly lied about like seeing the daughter in the morning and like all of these different factors that she was making up. So I think she knows, and I think she deserves to go to jail. I think she knew at least something was wrong.
Damn, and the case is still going on right now, still being reviewed?
Yeah, he's in jail for the CSEM, but I forget if they already... I think they might have charged him with the murder too, but he hasn't gone... There's no trial or anything yet. But I want her to go to jail.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that will happen. But she's just disappeared. She's not being... There's nothing, no movement with her. People, like, she's hiding somewhere right now. Just nothing. Demon Lemur Nick, I'm so sorry that your mom's friend was a victim of DV. She's recovering. They caught him. I'm glad they caught him trying to get to Mexico. Of course, I think they dropped the link in the chat, or they're going to. They have a GoFundMe. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, dude.
I'm sorry,
of course.
Demon Lemur.
Of course. Jesus, man. People, what's wrong with everyone?
I don't know. Some people are really sweet, but then, sometimes, like I was thinking in the bathroom earlier of like someone did something bad to me, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they thought this, and and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes people do bad things, and they're mad they get caught, or they don't give a shit. They don't. It just never even. They don't even think about other people. They don't exist.
Yeah, I guess so. This dynamic of. I'm not trying to shame just the mothers in this situation. Obviously, the criminal behind it is the worst one. And the reason I'm bringing the mothers up is like because this guy is already in jail. I don't think he's ever getting out of jail again, no matter what. But what about this lady? Because we're looking at, there's just another case in, where was that? I think in Louisiana. Yeah, a mother... A mother and actually, do you want to play that the news about this young woman?
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. 40-year-old LaToya Harris and her boyfriend, 41-year-old Terrence Washington, are both behind bars in Louisiana tonight. They're likely on a path straight to hell, and you will agree. This is after Harris's 15-year-old daughter was severely abused by the couple at their home in Terrebonne Parish, just outside of New Orleans. How bad was the abuse? Investigators say Washington shot the teen on 2 different occasions with a shotgun, one time in the chest. Police say he also raped her, and in order to cover that crime up, the teen's mother set her on fire, blaming her, and also never getting her a treatment for the gunshot wounds. The damage was so bad, the teenager lost half of her face and one of her eyes.
You can cut it off. I probably should have trigger warned that video. I'm sorry, guys.
That's fucked up.
But what the essence of that story is that the boyfriend was saying the daughter.
And then the mother lit her on fire to cover up the crimes?
Mm-hmm.
To cover up a fucking boyfriend and not her child?
Yeah. If you ever think that you might choose a partner over a child, just don't have kids.
Don't ever have kids, no.
Just don't. There's a minor child always needs to be before a romance. Like, are you kidding me?
I remember I read a tweet a long time ago, and it was from like a very prominent sort of femininity conservative author, and she said, I will always choose my partner over kids. And everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, even conservatives were like, you should not do that. Like, that is a bad idea. And she was like, what? I love my husband. And they're like, no. Your kid's safety, like first and foremost.
That is conditioned in a lot of those communities. Wait, that very specifically in the IBLP, it is being into the women, either mentally or physically, that you serve your husband and then your children.
Right. You can have another kid. You can't have another husband, right?
Even though they talk about how precious children and like life is, they don't actually act that way. The partner is the first order and then the kids. But yeah, it's just, it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around wanting men's attention so badly that you would ever do that to a little kid. That thankfully in this situation, this little girl survived somehow, but her life is going to be altered in a way that she can't really have a normal life ever again.
Well, we do, brighter side, live in a time where you can get the surgeries for help to fix. There's a lot of plastic surgery, cosmetic situations that can help her. And therapy's better. Unfortunately, this is a very bad thing that happened. But, she could, because she is young.
Yeah. I mean, she's 15. She's not little.
Right.
She will probably have a lot of support from the outside world now, at least financially for a time. But the fact that she had to go through that for so long, this wasn't just a one-off time. Like, she was going through this for a long time.
Like, how is she going to grow up and like be safe around other people, to trust other? I wouldn't.
How could you trust anybody?
I wouldn't trust anybody.
Your mom chose some dude's little worm penis over you, just like the attention of a guy is so important. It's just so gross. I'm sure it's like generational abuse and all that. I mean, not always probably, but a lot of times it probably is. But please just don't have kids if that's how you feel. It's okay. No. Just don't. You just don't have to have kids. It's okay. Here's another one that's actually, it would be really sad, except the woman survived. And this is not a news story. It's just something I came across and it kind of blew my mind. If you just want to pop on this video.
For today's guest now, though, and it's been almost 10 years since she found herself at the heart of an astonishing true story that gripped the nation. To the outside world, Victoria and Emil Cilliers were a happy couple that lived life to the fullest. But on Easter Sunday 2015, life changed forever for Victoria. A skydiving jump organised by her husband went disastrously wrong when her main and reserve parachutes failed to deploy. But this was no accident. Known now as one of the most unusual crimes in legal history, in 2018, Emil was sentenced to 18 years imprisonment for the attempted murder of his wife.
Yo,
you can stop it there.
Yo, there she is. She lived?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, they show her right there. She survived. She's okay.
There she is.
She's technically thriving.
Do you think she divorced him? Do you think she filed for a divorce after that?
They're more in love than ever.
Girl, I wouldn't be surprised.
She's thriving. She's not.
But that's an example of like, you fall from the sky without a parachute. She lived, according to modern technology, I would assume. So hopefully, maybe in 10 years, this young girl could be thriving. I'm crossing my fingers.
Let's hope. I hope she does. I hope she is thriving. Sometimes that happens. But that story, I'd never heard it before. But who was calling it a Looney Tunes style murder? That is the craziest plot I can think of to try to do away with your partner.
You
organize an entire skydiving excursion and then you just like slit the strings. On the parachute?
Never go skydiving with your husband, ladies.
Apparently not.
Never.
What would make you even come up with that premise?
I'm going to draw a black hole on a brick wall, and I'm going to run really fast, and she's going to smack into it.
That's what it feels like. It also is as flubbed as the Wile E. Coyote, because did you not think the parachute company and like the skydiving company would not do like an investigation into that? That they would just be like, oh, I guess our strings got cut. Whoops, sorry guys, that was an accident. Like they're obviously doing quadruple check. How do you even get? Okay, I have so many questions. How did he even get to the parachute? How did he get to it in the first place to slice it up?
He's probably just like, I'll help you tie your bow in the back, baby.
No, that's not how a parachute works.
And they're just like,
don't they have a bunch of safety protocol checks that was he in with the parachute company?
Maybe. Well, he's an Army guy. That's what they said. So he probably knows a little something how to sneak in there.
It seems like there would be a bunch of eyes on the parachutes and that they would check them over and over again. How did he slip in there?
I don't know. That makes me scared. One thing I'll never do is go parachuting.
Skydiving?
Skydiving. Absolutely negative for no me.
What if I offered you $50,000?
I still would say no.
You would say no?
I'd say no.
There's no money?
No money. No money in the whole world, in the whole wide world.
I mean, it's pretty safe generally.
You've been?
No, I've never done it just because, like, I don't know. It's not something I'm excited about, but I would do it. Like, if somebody paid me, I'd do it.
Well, you love heights.
I had to train myself to like heights. I was terrified of heights.
Damn, that's badass.
Now I really love it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. We have a couple subs for tonight, and then I'm going to show a funny video.
Well, thank you for the subs, Cass Reads Tarot and Thomas the Twerk Engine. Oh, yeah, that was... Do you want to try again?
Yeah, here we go. Toot, 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 toot.
Well, that just sounds like you're farting.
Toot, toot.
That was just farts. Yeah, do you want to end with a nicer video than all the things I just said?
Yeah, a fun little thing I found on TikTok.
I know I'm not seeing things, but wait for it. Come on. It's creepy as fuck, too. I hear it.
What?
Oh, my God.
This is going to be a jump scare. Oh! Okay.
That's so funny and so scary. The clowns are back, everybody. The clowns are back.
Was there no explanation?
No, he was just walking down the street. Would you make friends with him or not?
Yeah, I mean, I had a stilt walker in the subathon last year. Circus people, I would just be like, oh.
You get it. But just like some dude chill. If you're listening to this and not seeing it visually, it's a guy just like walking down the street with stilts and a whole clown makeup on and like a big, I don't know what that was.
It was a bindle.
A bindle.
I will say you have to have a little bit of like practice to do the stilt walking. And I think if you're athletic, you're safe.
You're
right?
safe. You're good.
No one's ever been hurt by a football player before, right?
I'd make friends with him.
I think it's fine. It's a little okay. I don't think it's scary just because it's a little too there's too much bravado. Like that guy had to make a big plan to do that. And that's not
clown
scary.
Makeup, and that's not cheap. Also,
yeah, he's like, I mean, I did think that was a fun surprise, though. I liked this. I was not anticipating that to walk through. I will say that, and I appreciate that.
Oh my God! Well, we do have the brighter side coming on right after this. It's 6 o'clock.
We have to leave because there's like 3 minutes space until you have to immediately come back on and talk about other things.
And I'll be here.
Not me.
She's going to go love her husband.
I'm going to go. I'm actually going to go up in the air.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be great. I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my clown stilts.
So you're going to do...
It was me!
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, You may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Hey everybody, Conan O'Brien here with an ad about my podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I've had so many fantastic conversations with people I truly admire, people like Michelle Obama, Bruce Springsteen, Maya Rudolph, Tom Hanks. New episodes are out every Monday, and we have a really good time, so subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.